Hi guys, my name is Ella and today we're going to read Cloudland by John Birmingham, and this used to be my absolute favourite book, so I'm excited to read it for you guys. They had spent the day high up in the mountains. So high were they that they could look at the clouds below them. There's them hiking in the mountains. "It's getting late, and the light is fading fast," said Albert's father. "We must hurry down before it gets dark." Then something terrible happened. Albert tripped and fell off a cliff. Albert's mother and father looked everywhere, but they couldn't find him. They were very sad because they loved their little Albert. "Oh no, Albert! He's falling!" And here's the mother and father looking worried. Albert was lucky. The children who lived in the clouds had seen him falling and said some magic words. They either said, "Fumble grally goggle ho hee," or "Tea-tum waggle barry see me," or was it "Gargle giggle fiddle num dee"? Albert found himself becoming really light, and the cloud children caught him. "We'll make you a bed in the clouds, Albert," they said. "You must be tired after your fall." And look, the cloud children have caught Albert in the clouds. And there's Albert on one of the clouds. When Albert woke up the next morning, the cloud children had made breakfast. "After breakfast, we're all going to climb up those tall clouds and play jumping games," they told him. There they are having their breakfast. I wonder what they're eating. Is it bread? I don't know. Porridge. I like porridge. And there's the tall clouds they're gonna play. And here they are jumping around in the clouds. I want to do that so badly. Albert really enjoyed jumping. He wasn't at all afraid because he felt light as a feather. After the jumping games, they played cloud ball, but the clouds were becoming darker and darker. "There's going to be a thunderstorm. Let's make as much noise as we can," said the children. There's the dark cloud. And here they are playing cloud ball. That looks so fun. And here they are making loads of noise. Albert's playing the drums, the cymbals. Then it began to rain. "We're going for a swim now, Albert," said the cloud children. And here they are, swimming in the rain clouds. And they've got their brollies as well, because you can't forget them when you're up in the clouds. After the rain came a beautiful rainbow, and they all painted pictures until it was time to go to bed. The next day there was a strong wind, and they were able to have races. They raced each other on little clouds, which was great fun until Albert found he was being left far behind. Here they are, ready to race. And then painting in the rainbow. And look, Here's the race. Albert's really far behind. Who do you think's going to win? I don't know, I reckon this one. This cloud child. Albert was all on his own. The other children were drifting further and further away. Suddenly, there was a terrific noise and a rush of air, and Albert was nearly knocked off his cloud. Here's Albert on his cloud, all alone. But he's not alone, because he's got the moon with him. Whoosh! An aeroplane! But the plane left a perfect path for Albert, and he was able to walk to the other children. Look at him. He's balancing along. And there he is with the children. Like a tightrope. Albert was really enjoying his time in the clouds and the games with the children, but one night, as he looked down from his cloud bed, he saw the lights of a city below, and he thought of his mother and father and his own little bed. "I want to go home," he said. He said it so loudly it reached the ears of the Queen. "Now what is all this about?" she said. "Nobody has ever asked to go home from the clouds before." "I want to be with my mother and father again," said Albert. The Queen felt sorry for Albert, and she thought for a very long time. Here's Albert in his cloud bed. And the Queen of Cloudland. He can see the city below him from the clouds. At last, the Queen said, "I have a plan. It will be difficult, but I'll try to make our clouds drift over where you live." So while Albert and the cloud children spent their days playing, and each night Albert slept in his cloud bed, the Queen got in touch with the wind. Until one day she said, "Albert, tomorrow will be over your home. But first we're going to give a party for you, and I've invited the man in the moon." The Queen talking to Albert. Here they are playing games again. And here is the party with the man in the moon. There he is. Next evening, the clouds drifted over the city where Albert lived. The Queen and the cloud children shook hands with Albert and said goodbye. Then the Queen said the magic words backwards. She either said, "Hee-ho, goggle, grally, fumble," or "Nisi, barry, waggle, tea-tub," or was it "Dee, num, fiddle, giggle, goggle"? I think it was that one, because there goes Albert saying goodbye. The next thing Albert remembered was that he was back in his own little bed, in his own room, and his mother and father were with him. Albert sometimes wishes he could be back playing with the cloud children, and he tries to remember the magic words. Can you remember them? Here he is, back with his mum and dad in his bed. People hear Albert saying strange things to himself. Things like, nary bluey beanie ho, or meeky maggy diddle he ho. But he can never quite get it right. There goes Albert talking to himself, they say. He always did have his head in the clouds. And that is the end. Finny.